All right, let's talk about one of the world's greatest mysteries, Mount Kailash. Now, you've heard of Everest, right? Well, Kailash is way shorter, but here's the crazy part. No one has ever climbed it. It's totally unconquered and absolutely surrounded by legends.
And some of the claims about this place, they are wild. Take this one, from a Russian doctor back in '99. He called Kailash a time machine, saying time literally moves differently there. The idea was that spending just 12 hours on the mountain could age you by 2 weeks. I mean, that's the kind of thing that gets your attention, right? But is any of it real?
Okay, so before we get into debunking all those crazy myths, we have to understand why this mountain is so important. Its power isn't just in the wild stories. It's about what this place actually means to millions and millions of people. And get this, it's not just one religion. Kailash is sacred to 4 different faiths. I mean, think about that. For Hindus, it's literally the home of Lord Shiva. For Buddhists, it's this place of supreme bliss. And for Jains and the Bon religion, it's where you achieve liberation and connect with the heavens. It's this incredible unifying spot in a world that's, well, not always so unified.
And its importance isn't just spiritual, it's profoundly geographical too. I mean, the glaciers all around Kailash, they give birth to 4 of Asia's most important rivers. We're talking about the Indus, the Sutlej, the Brahmaputra. These rivers sustain millions of people. So when we say this mountain is a source of life, it's not just a metaphor. It's literally true.
Okay, and right at the foot of the mountain, there's this really cool, kind of weird natural wonder. You've got 2 lakes sitting right next to each other. One is Lake Manasarovar. It's freshwater, peaceful, full of fish and plants. They call it the Lake of the Gods. And then, right there you have Rakshastal, the Lake of the Demon. It's saltwater, totally barren, and pretty much lifeless. This crazy contrast, this perfect duality, has been fueling stories about good and evil for forever.
Which brings us back to that central question, right? Thousands of people have stood on top of Everest, so why has nobody ever climbed Kailash? This is where things get really interesting.
So the legends say there's some kind of invisible force field, a supernatural barrier protecting the mountain. You hear all these stories, climbers suddenly getting lost and confused, their compasses spinning wildly, or these freak storms that just materialize out of a clear blue sky. It's like the mountain itself is saying, nope, you're not welcome here.
But what's the real story? Well, it's a combination of 2 things. It's incredibly difficult to climb, and more importantly, it's an act of profound respect. We're talking sheer vertical rock and ice faces. It's a beast of a climb, technically speaking. But the physical challenge, that's not even the main reason.
And this right here says it all. This quote comes from Reinhold Messner, arguably the greatest mountaineer who ever lived. He was given a permit, an official chance to be the first to climb it back in 1985, and he said no. He turned it down. Why? Because he got it. He knew that climbing this mountain wasn't about conquest. It would be like stomping all over something sacred to millions of people.
And here's the bottom line, it's not even a choice anymore. Back in 2001, a Spanish team actually got a permit to climb it. The backlash was huge. We're talking international protests from religious groups, from other mountaineers. It was so intense that the Chinese government stepped in and put a stop to it, for good. Since 2001, climbing Mount Kailash has been officially and permanently banned. It is literally illegal.
Okay, so we've solved the mystery of why it's unclimbed. But what about all those other miracles? The pyramid shape, the time warp stuff, the idea that it's in a perfect location? Let's take a closer look and see what science has to say. First up, that perfect pyramid shape. Some people think it must be man-made, like an ancient pyramid. But nope, it's actually a masterpiece carved by nature itself. Think about it. During the Ice Ages, massive glaciers ground against the mountain from multiple sides. That erosion is what sculpted it into this incredibly symmetrical but totally natural peak. It's stunning, but it's not artificial.
All right, let's tackle the big one, the time dilation claim. The stories of people's hair and nails growing super fast, of aging years in just a few days. It's a fantastic story, for sure. But where did it come from? If you trace it back, all of these incredible tales, they all come from one single source.
And that source is a Russian eye surgeon named Dr. Ernst Moldashov. Now, here's where you have to, consider the source. The same guy who said Kailash is a time machine also believed that mermaids and vampires are real, that he found Dracula's actual underground castle, and that Darwin's theory of evolution is just nonsense. None of his Kailash claims were ever scientifically published or verified, so you can draw your own conclusions about the credibility there. Okay, what about the idea that it's in a mathematically perfect spot? You'll hear these theories that it's exactly 6,666 kilometers from the North Pole, and the same from Stonehenge. It sounds amazing, right? But it's just not true. The numbers are close-ish, but they're not exact. It's a classic case of someone fudging the numbers a bit to make a cool story sound like a cosmic fact.
So what about those climbers getting confused, seeing things, or feeling that weird, invisible force? Well, there's a very real, very scientific explanation for that. Altitude sickness. When you get up that high, there's a serious lack of oxygen. And what does that do to the human brain? It can cause massive headaches, confusion, and even hallucinations. Those supernatural feelings match the medical symptoms of altitude sickness almost perfectly.
So, okay, we've peeled back the layers of myth and pseudoscience. Does that make Mount Kailash any less special? I would say, absolutely not. In fact, I think what's left is even more amazing.
Think about it. We live in an age where we've climbed the highest mountains, explored the deepest parts of the ocean, we've even walked on the moon. We are a species that loves to conquer things. And yet, the real miracle of Kailash might just be this. It's the one place we all, collectively, agreed to leave alone. Its true power isn't some invisible force field. It's a testament to human respect. It proves that some things aren't meant for us to conquer. They're meant for us to respect. And maybe that's the real question it leaves us with. In our rush to plant a flag on everything, what have we forgotten how to simply look up to in awe?